All right. Hey, everybody. It's Todd here. I'm here with Lonnie from the Alabama uh, Houndsman. We're going to have a little quick chit chat. There may be some more people jumping in. We sent out a few invitations. I know it's Sunday afternoon. Sometimes people will be able to come in and not. I lost your picture again, Lonnie.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you back here in a second.
All right. So we've been talking about a few things that's going on down in Alabama and a few other states. Lonnie, I want to tell you something. When we talked last time, I told you that I had a viewership of around 10 million total per month.
Yes.
I just want to tell you I was off on that, or actually it's increased. I was off on that. I just got my numbers today, and it's 22 million.
Oh wow, that's
So,
big.
so
It's a big
22.
platform.
I can only say it's not just YouTube. There's a bunch of places it's at, but I can only say thank you to the houndsmen that follow, and to the trolls that follow. I mean, you help too. I gotta give props. The trolls really help. So y'all keep going out there and creating those fake profiles, and because you're really helping the houndsmen get the word out. We appreciate it. So
Right.
so last night we had we had a houndsman meeting, reverse drawing, cooked a bunch of steaks, gave away a bunch of money. Somebody won $10,000. Wasn't me, but somebody won $10,000. So that's what I've been up to. What you been up to, Lonnie?
Well, we're still winding up deer season and deer season and turkey season starts Wednesday. So all the dog running in the state of Alabama's done for about 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe, and I've been I've just been working a lot and recuperating from hunting season. I hunted a lot this year, and I was tired when the season went out, so I just been kind of recuperating on catching up on the honeydews.
I just had somebody trying to join. I admitted them and they dropped out.
That may have been Koty.
Yeah, Koty needs to try it again. I don't know what happened, but I clicked admit and then he was gone. Oh, there he is.
Yes, sir. That's Koty.
Hello, fellas. I think I made it.
What's going on, man?
Man, battling with technology for the last few minutes.
I understand. Technology is great when it works.
Hey, I'm going to blame it on Lonnie. He sent me the code, and I think the spell check corrected his code, and so it sent me the wrong code because of the spell check.
Right?
It did. When we started the meeting, Koty, it popped up on my screen on my truck, so I screenshotted it. That's why you lost me a minute ago, Todd. I screenshotted it and sent it to him, the actual code. But yeah, my spell check was wearing me out.
It happens. Spell check hates me. I was just telling Lonnie that we had our area meeting for the Houndsman Association last night. We gave away over $10,000. Had a big steak dinner. Had a lot of participation. I got some really good pictures from the meeting. Huge room is full. We basically do it at the Shriners. Do it at the Shrine. What was amazing to me last night and what I absolutely loved, I was on stage pretty much all night, running my mouth and doing other stuff and then walking around talking to the crowd. And then we got ready to leave. We've made a big mess in this room. And one of the last things we did was I had this great big bucket full of tickets and I held the bucket up over my head and said, okay, we're getting ready to draw the 50-50 drawing. Somebody's getting ready to win $1,500. And I threw that bucket of tickets on the stage. They just went everywhere. And then we got a child about 2 or 3 years old to come up on the stage and pick up a ticket. And that's how we drew who the winner was for the 50-50. So
Wow.
I'm looking at the huge mess that we've made, and I'm thinking, man, we're going to be here all night because I already got home at 12:30 last night. So it was late getting in. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to be here in the morning cleaning up, right? The Shriners are like, no, we got this. Cleanup's part of what we're doing. You ain't got to do nothing.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
So I was very excited about that. So that's what I've been up to. What you been up to?
Man, I'm all over the map. I've got 4 kids. They're playing baseball right now. and we try to squeeze in a fishing trip here and there when we can this time of the year. Youth turkey season opened up yesterday morning, so been trying to get into that too. Just here and there, a little bit of everything.
Koty, y'all killed one yesterday?
No, we had a couple of close encounters. We had some jakes that were within range. Of course, that's not ideal. That's not really what we were after. We could hear a longbeard gobbling not very far from us, so we didn't try to really do much with the jakes, and then had some hens come in on us, and heard several that were gobbling. So, I would call it a good hunt, even though we didn't bring home a turkey, but we had a good time. I tell you what, right. I was very tired, and I'm sore today. We walked a little over 5 miles, and this territory around my house, you've got to be part mountain goat in some of these places to get around. So it was good exercise, if nothing else.
So is it hilly where you get there, Koty?
Is it what?
Is it hilly?
Oh, very much. Hills, big, steep, deep hollers, bluffs, that kind of territory.
Yeah. Koty lives up in North Alabama, and on the Mississippi line up way north, and I live way south on the Florida line. So it's just completely two different worlds.
Right. North Carolina's up like that from east to west. I'm standing on the flat coastal plain hunting swamps, and the further west you go, it gets mountainous like you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it dawned on me, I've got family in Meridian, Mississippi. How far are any of y'all from Meridian?
Is that south central Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so probably around 3.5 hours or so from me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the same for us. That's right. It's about the same.
Yep. Some of us Eastern North Carolina folks got uppity and moved to Mississippi, moved to Meridian.
Yeah.
So I got family all over, everywhere, I think. So tell me a fun story. Koty just told me one. You tell me one, Lonnie.
Shoot, I don't know. I tell you what, I can tell you that I can't all season open back up. I can tell you that. Had a litter of puppies yesterday. The future's bright. Had 9. Jip had 9 puppies, and promising. Can't wait for them to get up and start chasing a deer.
Outstanding.
That's outstanding. The future's bright on that side. I have not raised the litter of puppies in, I don't know, it's probably been 5 or 6 years. I've pretty much been dealing with grown dogs, but I'm gonna I've never kept all the dogs in a litter. I've always, sold them or gave them away to buddies or whatever. And 8 weeks, 10 weeks old, but I'm gonna keep these and see what they turn out like, and then whichever one or a couple of them turn out, I'm gonna keep and get rid of the rest probably. The last litter I had, my best friend, one of my best friends, I said, "You want one of these dogs, Kevin?" And he said, "Yeah, I want one." He said, "Just go and pick it out for me and name it." And I did. I picked him out. It was a dog named Ruger, and Ruger was the best dog in the litter, straight up $3,000 trail dog. I mean, he turned out to be the best. And of course, I gave him away to my best friend, and I said, "Dadgummit." And I asked Kevin the other day, I said, "Kevin, you want one of these dogs?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Go ahead and pick it out and name it for me and give it to me."
Well, let me pick out the best one in my litter and give it right to you. That's what you're getting ready to do, right?
That's right. So I told her I wasn't going to do that again, but I was kidding around. But you don't ever know which one's going to turn out. And at least I can't ever tell. There's indicators and all that, but when they get a little age on them, they some get are a lot better than others.
Right. Well, it's like my cousin and my daddy and my uncles and all have said, to make a dog, he's got to be in the woods. You can't make him in the pen.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to feed him deer tracks.
Yep, that's right. You got to, and that's where turkey season messes us up sometimes. And of course, the heat of the summer and all that stuff. It's not good for a puppy to sit there all summer and not get some training, that they need. In Alabama, we can't run dogs, after during the summer. And of course, during turkey season, our club don't allow us to run day or night, period. So we're shut down for about 6 weeks.
North Carolina, we can fox hunt 24/7, 365.
Right.
Thanks to the North Carolina Fox Hunters Association. Them guys took care of that years ago. You wouldn't be able to kill a dog anywhere in North Carolina if it wasn't for them, and they don't get the credit they deserve. They really don't.
That's right. Yep. That's one thing in Alabama. We're going to have to, unite and protect each other's rights. Whether you're coon hunting, fox hunting, deer hunting, it doesn't matter. As you know, it's a fight, and we need to band together. And that's one of the things we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. Is there's a couple of associations, us and one or two more, and we are, we're just we need to try and link up and get everybody together, and instead of fussing and arguing about the way you say something, the way you do something. As you know, we talked about a couple of weeks ago on that podcast with the we're under fire, and we're going to have to unite.
There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it at all. So Koty, I don't remember if you were on the stream when I told this or not, but I got my numbers today. I got them this morning from the different platforms that we're on. And I told y'all last time that I had about a 10 million viewership per month. That's at 22 million as of this morning.
Oh my goodness. For the last podcast or video call that we done?
No, not just for that. For everything, I've got multiple platforms, and take the viewership 28 days across all the platforms and add them up, and it's 22 million viewers. So I'm humbled that 22 million people tuned in to see what a country redneck from Eastern North Carolina and a swamp called Tick Bite had to say, and the people that I talked to. And it's amazing to me. I do know that that when you got a subject you want to talk about and you put it out there, you do seem to get results from it. Lonnie was telling me a little bit about that before you came on. I'm going to let him finish up talking about that.
Well, I think, Koty, what I was talking about with some of those folks that we've been trying to reach out to for several years, that we deal with, the last podcast brought them to the table and started communicating with us and stuff that we should have been doing many years ago. And that's pretty much what we were talking about. And I want to be careful how we discuss it and who we talk about, because it causes, a little drama for them at this point. But they're, as Koty knows, they're coming to the table and they're talking to us, and that's all we're asking is give us a voice and hear us out and do what's right.
That sounds great. I had a guy on this week that does deer recovery using a drone, and he does other things with a drone also. He does farm work. He actually sprays fields. It's a crop duster, but he uses a drone instead of an airplane. He's a licensed pilot. He's a licensed FCC pilot, and he's got this fancy drone that it has a thermal on it, and it also has a camera on it. And you can fly this drone and follow a deer's track that they've laid down on the ground with the thermal, and follow it all the way to the deer and zoom in with the camera and see the deer. You can watch the deer blink its eyes. It's absolutely amazing. The technology is amazing. You were talking about people, saying things. One of the very first comments was, "That's not ethical. It's not ethical for the deer."
Mm.
And my take on that was how is it unethical? The deer has been shot.
Mm-hmm.
Not out there looking for deer for somebody to hunt. Matter of fact, he specifically said in the video that he would not do that. That he was only going to track one. He wasn't going to go look for them so that they could hunt them. And I agree that probably would be unethical if you fly a drone out and be like, "Oh, here's the deer right here. Let's go get him." What y'all think about that?
I agree with you too. As far as the tracking, you're looking for an animal that's been shot. I think that technology's there. It's available. Let's do what we can to find that deer. And if you're going out there and you're flying that drone over some fields or over your hunting property or whatever to try to find out where the deer are before you go hunting, yeah, I think you've kind of crossed the line there. But as far as recovering a wounded deer, yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm in the same boat. I agree with what you're saying. I think that if it's been wounded, you need to make every effort to find the deer. As we talked about this on that podcast, or it might have been on the phone the other day, Todd. I forget which, but there's been a lot of there's the most leg shots and the missed opportunities for deer that I've ever seen in my life. And I see it on Facebook all the time, and I don't know whether they need to go get some shooting skill lessons or what. But I've had the blood track deer that I've shot myself, so I'm not immune to it. And I'm not an expert marksman, but I can tell you this right here: I've never had to call a drone or a tracking dog to find a deer that I've shot. Now, in a briar patch or something, when I shot one of the buckshot to keep me from having to get all scratched up in South Alabama, I put dogs on the deer and they found them for sure. But I also back on the drones, I know for a fact that, and I don't have a problem with this because the hogs are just taking us over. I know people, well, I've heard of people, not that I personally know, but I've heard that the neighbor landowner to us has hired a guy that uses drones to fly over fields like Koty was just talking about to see if he'll park his vehicle on a county road and fly over their green fields and see if there's hogs in the green fields, and if there are, then they'll go in with night vision and shoot them and kill them. But nobody really cares about a hog because it's a hog. Exterminate them kind of thing. But I'm not for that for deer by no means.
I don't know about Alabama, but in North Carolina, hogs are not considered game animals. We can hunt them 24/7, 365. They are they're considered domestic animals that have escaped. So they're classified as game animals. So hog hunting is different than say deer hunting.
That's right. We got a bunch of them here.
That way here.
Sure. I think so. It is, but again, a hog. Nobody cares about a hog. Here they want to exterminate them, kill them all. And of course, it's all of it now is a big money making deal. I got friends. We got people in our association that have hog traps. They run a track service or a trapping service, and they trap hogs. We've got traps in our club, and got hog dogs, and so the people go catch hogs with them. But it's all about money now. Who can make money, how to make it. Because I don't, the clubs are paying people to go catch those hogs.
Right. So another thing I wanted to talk to y'all about, I'm going to pull it up so I can get the correct wording on it, is the amendment. I think it's Amendment 24 or 25. Anyway, one of the amendments that was put on the federal farm bill. They had I need to quit saying a lot. That's something I'm working on. They had a bill about greyhound racing that they knew the bill was going to be dead on arrival. They didn't really figure it was going to pass. They filed it anyway. Then they got this great idea. You know what? We could slide this language into the farm bill and maybe nobody will notice and we get it passed. I sent the link to you, Lonnie. Did you read it?
Yeah, I read some of it for sure. I got I think I have the gist of what it was. It's probably not a good thing.
I'm not the only one that's covered it. There's been pages much bigger than me that have covered this. And let Grandpa stick his glasses on real quick. It's Amendment 25 in the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill is House Resolution 7567. And Amendment 25 includes language from the Greyhound Protection Act, which was House Bill 5017. It could be used to stop all hunting with dogs nationwide. And I've had people argue with me and say, oh, it wouldn't affect me retrieving my duck. Are you sure? I'm going to read this stuff to you, and you tell me. It will be unlawful for any person to engage in live lure training of dogs. What if that duck you shot isn't dead? How are you going to train that dog to catch ducks in the first place? How about deer? How about rabbits? It shall be unlawful for any person to conduct open field coursing event. That sounds like deer hunting and rabbit hunting to me. I don't know about you, but fox hunting. And then it defines it. Open field coursing means any event in which dogs are used to pursue a live animal in an open field. So you can rabbit hunt in the woods, but if a rabbit ran out into the field, you're in violation. It shall be unlawful to knowingly sell, transport, or deliver any dog for the purposes of engaging in any activity prohibited in this section. So now it's illegal to sell a Walker Hound. This is actual language in an actual bill that's sitting in Washington, D.C. right now that they want to force on everybody. And I hate to say it, but my representative, Don Davis, voted to advance this amendment, and he's got his day coming on this channel right here. I'm giving him the opportunity to put the camera on himself and talk to me directly. But if he don't do that, I'm going to do it without him. Ain't no problem. I don't mind. Last night at the meeting, I'm out walking around talking to the crowd. One of the guys saw me and calls me over, introduces me to the people at his table. He said, you know who this is? They said, no. And he told them. And one of the guys that didn't know who I was said the words, I'll make you famous. Because that's sort of my tagline, because that's exactly what I tell them. Either good or bad, I'll make you famous one way or the other. If you've done good, I'm going to make you famous. If you've done bad, I'm going to make you famous. So I've got a little bit of an issue with my representative. I'm going to properly address my government. I'm going to redress my government. But that language troubles me terribly. And the fact that they think it's a good idea to even put it up there in the first place and vote on it is crazy. It's crazy. People walking on concrete don't know what the country life is about.
So where is that bill right now within the legislative process? You said it had just made a little bit of progress. Well, where is it right now?
It's sitting in the House of Representatives.
Okay. That's the first I've heard of it. But yeah, that sounds very dangerous to us.
I've shared on my Facebook pages. It's out there. It's actually getting a lot of traction this morning. Okay. I put it out. It's amazing. I put something out and it starts getting traction about 8 to 10 days later. You know, I put it out and I'm like, man, we need to talk about this right now. But usually it's about 8 to 10 days. I put out a story about some dogs that were in the animal shelter in Eastern North Carolina, 23 hounds. And I was like, hey, go get these dogs, guys. And that story's trending today, and it was put out 13 days ago. We got some of the hounds out of the shelter. Hunters have got them in their possession. I did an interview with the shelter director, and it was interesting. But the interesting thing was it doesn't trend when you want it to.
How did they wind up in the shelter? What was what put them in the shelter?
Guy owner had cancer. Had some issues. It was a really sad situation. It was a self-surrender.
Yeah.
3 dogs, good pack of dogs. Several people went and got them, and they're going to hunt them.
Awesome.
But the part about that story that's really bad, I put the story out. People started commenting on it. And a guy got into the comments, and why he did it, I have no idea. He said, I called the shelter and they won't let hunters adopt these dogs. They told me that if you're a hunter, don't even come down there. You're not going to get a dog, yada, yada, yada. And first thing I thought was this was animal rights activists trying to steer the narrative, right? So I went and looked at his profile, and he's a hunter. If he's not a hunter, he's an animal rights activist that don't mind posting hunting content.
Right.
So I replied to him and I said, I actually talked to the shelter director, and I called her by name and told her, I actually had an interview with her, and the information in the post is a direct quote from her. And she said specifically, I want these dogs to go to hunters. That's what their whole life's been about. That's what they were trained to do. They need to hunt. And that's a veterinarian talking. That's a doctor of veterinary medicine that's giving the statement. He doubled down and said, you hadn't talked to her. She's been doing blah, blah, blah. I called up there. They haven't talked to you. They don't know who you are. So I recorded the phone call when I made it. So what did? I posted the phone call. I said, okay, no problem. Here's the actual phone call. And I made him locally famous.
Why would he do that, you think?
I have no idea. That's what blows me away is why. Why do that? Why lie when the truth will do just fine? So the first thing he did after that happened was block the page and block me. But that didn't prevent everybody else from seeing it. But why do people do that? It goes right along with this bill. People don't like hunting with dogs, so they would support this bill. Their basis usually is based on a lie or a misunderstanding, but usually it's just a flat out lie, because that guy flat out lied. I called the shelter. They haven't talked to you. And I've got a recorded phone call from 2 hours ago when I was talking with the director. And I told the director in the phone call, I said the words, I'm going to make you famous because she's doing good. And then I turned around and made the other guy famous for doing bad. Do you guys ever experience that where people just flat out lie?
Unfortunately, so.
All the time. All the time. So people can't help it.
They'd rather climb a tree and tell the lie than stand on the ground and tell the truth.
That's
right.
Got diabetes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
so what else we got going on, fellas?
The people that believe those lies, it's unreal when that happens, because then we spend more energy trying to refute a lie than respect that energy and move forward with the positive truth.
If right now, if I went right now on one of my pages, let's say I went to the Army of Orange page and I posted Lonnie Miller, Alabama houndsman, does, and I put some great thing that you've done, right? It would get a little viewership, a little bit. But if I put up there Lonnie Miller, Alabama houndsman, and then I put some horrible thing that you've done, it'll be before the sun goes down.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It'll go viral before the sun goes down today. People love to spread something negative. They love a lie. They love some gossip. I think it's just the way we're built as people.
Yeah, I get enough trouble. Todd, I get enough trouble on my own. I don't need nobody helping me.
Well, maybe I'll do it too.
That's the way it goes. So you asked what we had going on. I personally, we don't have nothing going on in Alabama right now. Like I said, we're kind of at holding patterns, as far as the deer dog hunting world goes. But I guess April 30th we got our advisory board meeting. We're all getting ready for it. Next Saturday we got a state meeting. Koty's up for re-election. He's our vice president, and he's up for re-election, and we're going to do that next Saturday and go over the latest events we've been going through the past 2 or 3 weeks with our advisory board and different things. And We'll all be traveling to Montgomery, Alabama for that, and hopefully we'll get everything straightened out and move forward, get us a sense of direction so we know what the membership wants us to do. And that's pretty much what that meeting is about.
Well, that sounds great. I'm going to tell a hunting story, and I'm
Come
going to
on.
cover several of the points that you did, and then I'll give y'all the opportunity to tell a story if you want to. But I'm going to tell a true story. Happened to me. It's a good story. It was maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I was hunting with my son at the family hunting club in Onslow County. We've been running dogs all day long. We hadn't seen a deer. And when I say we hadn't seen a deer, we hadn't seen a deer all day long. Everybody else had seen deer. A couple of people had taken deer. But me and my son had not seen a single deer, not even a yearling, nothing. So we're on the way out. We've got the dogs called up. We've only got 2 dogs with us. We've got his grown dog and we got my puppy. So we're heading out of the hunting club. I come around this curve on this dirt. I'm talking about dirt roads, private land. We're hunting about 16 square acres. So 16 square miles. I'm sorry. So, we got plenty of room to stretch out. So I come around this curve and there's a buck, kind of looked like the Hertford buck from those Hertford commercials, standing in the middle of the road looking at me. I looked over at my son. I said, take your rifle, get out and shoot that deer. He said, I've already unloaded my rifle and put it in the back seat. I said, well, here, take my rifle and get out and shoot that deer. He said, why don't you just get out and shoot it? I don't really know how to shoot your rifle. I said, okay. So I got out, propped up, got the deer in the scope. I flipped the safety off. The deer heard the click and he took off running. And he wasn't wasting no time. He was running. And my son's telling me, he said, you gonna shoot? You gonna shoot? I said, I'm kind of hoping he'll stop and turn broadside. You gonna shoot? And that's what he did. He turned broadside about 400 yards down the path. And I sent it. And he stumbled. I said, well, I hit him, but I think I hit him in the leg. I think I leg shot him. I don't know, but I did hit him. So we hopped in the truck. It was getting close to dark. We had about an hour of shooting light left. So we both hopped in the truck. I drove down there where the deer was at. I'm looking out the window. I see where he stops, where he stumbled around. I said, right here's where he went in. My son's dog's name's Adventure Time. Adventure Time is in the back of the truck, barking every breath. He smells that deer. He smells that bloody deer, and he wants in on this. So my son gets out. He walks over there, and he's tracking where the deer went in. He said, deer went in right here. Deer's over here. And he started to go across the ditch to go see if he could find the deer. But you were talking about briars and brambles in Alabama. We got them too. Where the deer went into was nothing but a huge briar bed. He said, send Adventure Time to me. I said, all right. So I went around and popped the dog box. Adventure Time didn't even touch the tailgate when he come out of the dog box. He was ready to go. He ran in where that deer went in, jumped the ditch, jumped literally over my son, and landed in them briars, and him and the deer both come up. My son was standing less than 10 feet from the deer and couldn't see it. But Adventure Time and the deer both come up, and the deer was hit, and he was hit good. My son could see where the round went in, everything. He was right on top of this deer, but then he couldn't shoot the deer because the dog was right on top of the deer. So the deer took off towards the back of the block with the dog sight chasing it. I got on the radio. This is where people that don't hunt with dogs don't really understand us as a culture. I got on the radio. I said, hey guys, any of you still here at the club? Yeah. I told them what block I was in. I said, I just shot a nice buck. He's hit. We got a dog on him. He's headed towards the back of the block. If anybody help me round this deer up, it'd be grateful. I don't really want to be out here in the dark chasing this deer. One of my cousins said, I'm sitting at the back of the block that you're on right now. About where's the deer at? I said, about middle way. He went and got out of his truck, got up on his dog box and started looking over into the woods. Just a couple of minutes later, I heard bang, bang. 2 shots from a 243. I knew that was Darren. And then I heard a couple more dogs join in on the chase. He came back to the radio. He said, I saw the deer. It's a nice buck. He said, I shot twice. He said, I missed twice. I know I missed. He said, but I put my 2 dogs on him. So now there's 3 dogs on the deer. Maybe we'll run him out somewhere. So the deer takes off and starts running straight back through the block. I'm watching on the GPS where my dog is. He's running straight back to the truck. I got my son standing up on top of the dog box with his rifle so we can take the deer as soon as the deer comes. The deer comes almost to the path where we can see him, and the puppy in my truck gets excited from all these other dogs barking. He starts raising sand. Deer turns and starts running parallel to the road. I said, I got to get this puppy out of the truck, so I popped him out of the dog box. And I watched on the GPS. I told him, I said, the dogs are headed to, and I told him the crossroad they were going there. And another guy popped in, one of my friends, former Marine. He said, I'm sitting right here. I'm listening to the dogs coming. He said, I got my kid with his 20 gauge out there waiting on him. I said, outstanding. We're going to sit right here. So we sort of kept up with the dogs going down the side of the dirt road. If they crossed on us, we were going to take care of it. If they went the other way, Darren was going to take care of it. And if they went towards Jim, Jim was going to take care of it. So we had the deer pretty much cornered. And the dogs were not moving fast. They were sight chasing the deer. The deer was just bumping along. If I'd let the deer lay, he'd have died where he was laying. But it'd have been dark and cold and me trying to recover the deer where I can recover him in the daylight. So it's about 2 minutes and I hear a shotgun. Boom. And then I hear a pop from a pistol. Pop. Calls on the radio. Got your deer. Deer's down. Come on around here. So Darren comes around from one side of the block. We come around from the other side of the block. As soon as I make the turn, there's a 12-year-old boy standing there with a 20 gauge shotgun and the deer's laying there at his feet. I went driving up. Jim said, there's your deer. I said, you sure that's my deer, Jim? I got looking at there. This was a nice buck, fellas. I'm telling you, this is one like you mount and like you take to the wildlife show and show off. Okay, it's a nice buck. I said, I don't think that's my deer. I don't think my deer was that big. And he said, that was your deer. He said, that deer was barely moving when it got here. He said, I don't even know how it got this far. He said, it barely got across the ditch when my kid shot it. I said, no, man. I looked at the kid. I said, you shoot that deer? He said, yeah. I said, you hit that deer? He said, yeah. I said, well, you the last one to put a bullet in it. That's your deer. And Jim's face lit up. He couldn't believe what I was doing. And the kid's face lit up. Oh my God, you know. So we helped him load his deer up. I took his picture with his deer. We carried it to the clubhouse. We cleaned his deer. We caped his deer out so he get it mounted. It meant more to me for that kid to take that deer than it did for me. I hadn't seen a deer all day. I hadn't taken a deer all season. And this was a nice rack buck. And I just said, take it, son. It's yours. It's your
Awesome.
deer.
That's good. Good.
Well, that's the way I am. That's the way most people, houndsmen are. I don't. Yeah. Most of them are like that. We hunt as a team. We hunt together. It's a group effort. By the way, I got a backstrap out of that deer. But other than that, yes. So that was my hunting story. You tell me one.
Well, I got one for you. I mean, it ain't much to it, but I used to hunt 25 years ago. I hunted in a little place called Georgiana, Alabama. And a club is Mountain Run Hunting Club, a great little club. They were a dog club, and we would dog hunt. I don't know. We'd probably go kick rocks at the 4-way stop till about 7:30. Go turn dogs out, and we'd stop around 12 or 1, and then still hunt that afternoon. But it was a weekend only club, but a bunch of good guys, and we'd always gang up at after every drive, one of them type clubs, and where we're gonna go and shoot the crap. And it just wasn't I wouldn't call it a serious club, like club I'm in now, we hunt daylight in the dark. Don't ever see who you hunting with. You just talk on the radio. One of them kind of clubs, which I like. We turn out a bunch, but I was up there 20 something years ago, probably 25 years ago, and of course, everybody has those favorite stands where the deer cross. And one of the guys named Mickey, he was a older guy, owned a bunch of land there, and Mickey had a dog that was he never put it in a pen. It was a yard dog. So he was a resident up there where we were hunting at. And he had a dog that wouldn't bark. And he had a bell on that dog's neck. And of course, we killed several deer in front of that dog. That day, that particular drive, I got the sweet spot. I got one of the better stands. And back then, that club back then was, if it was brown, it was down. It was not a trophy club. It was a deer club. If you want to shoot, shoot. If you don't, don't. Didn't matter. And so I was on that stand, and here come a race, come right to me, and I shot on the left side. I killed a doe. And a few minutes later, another race come. I shot again, killed a doe on the right side. Same stand, 2 races back to back. That was definitely a hot cross. It was one of those type stands. Well, by that time, everybody was ganging up. Everybody's like, let's go see what he killed, and on each side of me, it was trucks backed up. Well, I heard that bell on that dog, ling, 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 ling. And that dog brought a third deer, which I missed, by the way, but I was laughing so hard because everybody was giving me a hard time about having deer stacked up. But that's just a great memory of course, Mickey's dogs they're more feist yard dog type dogs, because he enough. And
You break it up, Lonnie.
can you hear me? How about now?
Can now. You were talking about the feist dog. It wasn't a feist dog.
Yeah, Mickey's dogs, they weren't hounds, they were feist, so they wouldn't bark very good. But that bell, that bell, I heard that bell, and that dog brought that third deer to me on the same stand. And I've never been on a hot stand like that since. But I was glad to be on it that day because I killed 2 deer that day. And back then there wasn't a limit on, whether 1 a day or 2 a day, whatever. You could just shoot them, whatever. But it was a good day for me that day. I had a lot of fun in that club back 25 years ago. So
Right.
yeah.
Koty, your turn.
So I'll tell y'all a story that I think might go along with the stories that both of you just told. I'm going to attempt to show you a picture on my phone of involving the deer that was in this story. So I don't know how well this is. There's a lot of glare there, but you can see my son. You can see a dog. He's holding a deer. It's a pretty decent rack buck. It's like a 14, 15 inch 8-point. And Lonnie talked about the club, the brown. If it's brown, it's down kind of club that he was hunting in. And so this club that I'm hunting in now, it's the same way. And I don't mind that. Kids have a lot of fun with that. They like to shoot. So that's just how we roll. We were hunting over there this past season, and we had turned out, I don't know, probably 15 dogs or so. Had several dogs out on the ground, maybe 20. And there was a picture of a really, really nice buck in this section of woods. Like, the deer ended up getting killed at the end of the season. 140, maybe 150. Really nice buck. And so we were trying to get that deer up and running. And I was watching all the dogs on my Garmin, and we're sitting on a pipeline right away that goes through the hunting club. And when I say we, I'm talking about me and 3 kids. Every time I go hunting, I've got kids with me. Very rarely do I get to go hunting by myself. So we're sitting on this pipeline right away, and we're watching all the dogs, and I noticed there's this one dog. He's breaking loose. He's running solo. and he kind of made a loop, and then started coming in our direction, and he started getting pretty close. Kids dog deer hunting, they're kind of goofing off for the most part until it's time for the action. And I see the dog getting close, and I say, all right, boys, y'all better get ready. He's coming. I don't know what he's running. Y'all better get ready. So there's 3 kids and myself, and I was being lazy. We got our truck. We're parked on this pipeline right away, and I've got my gun out my window. I'm not. I'm just hoping the kids get a shot, but I got my gun out just in case. And so my oldest son standing behind the truck, looking the same direction I am. One of our cousins, a young kid, sitting in the back seat, looking the same direction I am. And then my middle son, also standing outside the truck. Draw on the opposite side of the truck, looking the opposite way. But the dog is coming straight to us. And there's a draw or a hollow. We're sitting on a ridge, a hollow on either side. I knew he was going to come to one side, but he was coming straight at us at that moment. So I told my middle son, his name's Canaan. I said, Canaan, you need to watch over here toward the passenger side of the truck. I think that's where he's going to go. And so everybody else is watching the driver's side of the truck. And so my oldest son, with him standing behind the truck and the direction that the deer was coming from, he saw the deer first. He saw the deer actually before it came out into the pipeline right away. So he had his gun up. He was ready. As soon as the deer stepped out, he shoots. He missed his first shot. Then I shot the kid that was sitting behind me in the truck. It all happened so fast he didn't get a shot off. But on my oldest son's second shot, he folded up the deer. I'm talking about folding him up. And we're happy. We're on the radio. Hey, we got a big buck down, big buck down. I said, I don't think it is the big buck that we're hunting, but it's a good buck. We're all excited, except for Canaan. He comes around, he's been on the passenger side of the truck. He ain't even seen a deer. And he comes around and, man, he's tore up. He's all been out of shape. He's just almost crying. He's fussing. And it's my fault because I told him to go watch the passenger side of the truck, and the deer come out on the driver's side of the truck. So I've got one kid that's, he's on cloud 9. He's had a good hunt. He's smiling. And I got one kid that's happy, almost crying, that I got to deal with the rest of the day. So, that just one story that come to mind as both of you were sharing your stories. I know, Todd, you talked about a kid being involved in your story. And, that's what it's all about. I love hunting with the kids. I wouldn't trade anything for it. We spend a lot of time, a lot of hours in the woods every year, and enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, no doubt. I got 2 questions. Well, I got a comment and I got a question. My comment is hunting with hounds and hunting with kids is a good experience normally for the kids. They don't have to sit still. They don't have to be quiet. I carried one of my friends and his son hunting on youth day one time. And I told him, I said, next year when we come back, we're going to mount a drum set and a tuba on the top of the dog box so you can sit up there and make a little bit more noise than you did today. Because he couldn't have been in the line if he was playing a tuba and beating the drums. But we had a great time and the kids saw a bunch of deer. So, I said that jokingly about the drum set and the tuba. But, the kids can move around. They can talk. I've got pictures of my grandson. He's the branch manager. They found a tree branch in the woods, him and 3 or 4 other kids, and they're out dragging it around the road, playing with it. We're all grouped up talking about where we're going to hunt next, and the kids are out there. I got the branch manager and the assistant branch manager. They're both dragging branches down the dirt road. And what they didn't realize was they were actually wiping some of the tracks away, the old tracks away. They were actually giving us a new canvas to look at for tracks. I actually wanted to get them to drag the whole road if they would. But hunting with the kids, it's we're building the next generation. I know of 4 kids right now that are adults now that I gave them their first entry into hunting with hounds. when his child had ADHD, and his dad's a big still hunter. I mean, big still hunter. And he couldn't take him hunting because he wouldn't be still and he wouldn't do anything. I carried him hunting with me. He's got a pack of bear dogs. He's got a 4x4 with a radio on it. He's got a 4-wheel drive truck. When I say 4x4, I mean he's got a side-by-side. He's got a 4-wheeler. He's got a pack of bear dogs. He's hunting. He's a houndsman. So that's one I created. The one I'm talking about where I said, let's beat the drums and play the tuba. He's a houndsman. I can count four off the top of my head without thinking about it that I gave them their introduction into hunting with dogs. And it is a totally different experience. And for people that do not understand it, they really should take a moment to understand it. Had a guy in the comment section this week that made a comment, and I said, you want to watch the video or actually read the story before you comment, because you're so far off base. I know you didn't do either. His reply was, I don't need to watch the video. I know. Okay, well, you're willfully ignorant. You just are what you are. So that's my comment. My question is, Lonnie, you got a litter of puppies you're raising. How you start your puppies?
Well, we'll get 7-8 weeks old, and then we'll go get some Tennessee red rabbits, and we'll thicket. Usually something that's kind of thin, not really too thick. We get something that the rabbit can go hide in, and we'll get them on those rabbits, and we'll get started. They'll run those rabbits, and they don't catch the rabbit. We're right there with them. The rabbit don't go anywhere anyways, as far as running. And then they'll, the one that, the rabbit will lose them sooner or later, and the one that goes to find the rabbit is usually the one with a better nose, and you'll weed them out that way. And then you talk about feeding tracks. Once they get older, we start messing with them and pretty much just feeding them tracks. And 6 months old, by the time they're 6 months old, if they're not running, they're not going to run. I'm not going to tell you they're going to be the polished dog by no means, but if they're not at least a pack dog, they ain't going to make it, but that's pretty much how we start them. We do track hunt, like up there in North Alabama where Koty and them are. There's so much rock and stuff they can't really, there's no sand up there really. It's a hilly, they have to have those rocks on the roads, but we don't have that problem here. We got red clay and sand, so we track hunt. That's what we like to do. And of course, the person that's got the dog to take the oldest track is the best. Everybody wants to watch that dog work or listen to that dog work or whatever most of the time. And everybody wants that dog. And I personally would rather train one that comes out of my kennel. And I've got a couple that I have bought, and they're in my kennel now. So, but I would rather train my own. I've done that before. And the dog the Jip that had the puppies, I bought her at 8 weeks from a guy in Mobile, Alabama, for $200, and she was just a scrawny old puppy, but she had some good blood, and this is the first litter of puppies I've raised out of her, and I'm really excited about it. Really excited.
Thank you for sharing. Koty, how about you? How you start puppies?
So I will generally, I think Lonnie said the same thing. As far as the age, for me, it's somewhere around 4 months. And the first thing that I will do with any dog when I'm training, I'm working with them in the yard on the tone breaking. That is the first thing I want them to learn before they learn how to hunt. I want them to learn that when they hear that tone, it's time to come to me, or it's time to at least stop, So that's the first thing I'm going to do. We're going to be out in the yard at about 4 months old. We're going to be working on some tone breaking. Once I am comfortable with that dog and that tone breaking process. And once I'm comfortable knowing that that dog knows what the tone means, then we're going to start working on hunting. And so I live in an area where deer are just everywhere. A lot of land, very rural area. So it's not hard for me to go find a fresh deer to put the dogs on. Well, you know, try to get them on, just ride up and down the road, find a deer, turn them out. So I can do that. And I also have a full-blooded beagle. Now the dogs that I hunt with are going to be some half breeds, half walker, half beagles. And they're going to be on the smaller side of the half breeds, probably somewhere around your 18 to 20 inch dog, knee high dogs. But I do have this old retired beagle, and he'll still run, but man, he's slow as molasses. And so he does pretty good, you know, helping to get these puppies going. If they need a little help, you know, they can get in there with him, and he's not going to run off and leave them. Most of the time, it don't take these puppies long, and they're running off and leaving him. And so, you know, that's kind of my strategy. And like Lonnie said, I enjoy training puppies about as much as I do hunting or anything else. Everything I've got here that I'm hunting with is something that I have personally raised. And, you know, that I think that just adds a little bit to the satisfaction factor, you know, when you see your dogs out there running and they're doing a good job, and you know that you raised them, you trained them. That's something to be proud of, or at least it is for me. So, you know, that's just kind of the way I do it.
All right.
Hey,
My dad
jump off, Paul. Hey.
You're breaking up again, Long.
How about now?
You're breaking up a little bit.
No. Is that better?
Why don't you just pick it up and hold it? Maybe you can get it higher to get a better signal.
Maybe so. Is that better?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, follow up on what Koty was talking about, and he touched on that, you know, tone breaking and collar breaking dogs, whatever. That goes without saying, but I don't have a dog in my kennel that's not polished tone broke, either horn or whistle. And I know for 100% fact, people do not tone break their dogs. They're going to lose their dog hunting privilege. And I know that they've got to do that. So I didn't mention it, but to me, it just goes without saying. Any dog man that's really, you know, that's worth his salt is going to keep their dogs on their property. If you don't, you'll have an issue at the minimum, but there's a good chance you're going to lose your right or your privilege to dog hunt. So that. The GPS tracking deal, I hope one day that it's a state law in Alabama requirement, you know, to have the tone shock GPS tracking capability. I think that if you turn a dog out, you need to know where that dog's been. Number one, but you need to be able to show where that dog's been. So that goes without saying as far as with the training. But like, you know, if I on my hunting club, they are home broke, but as far as around my yard with rabbits, I don't really fool with that in the beginning. But Koty's 100% right. You turn them out, you know, on a setting where they can get off your land, then by all means they need to be broke.
Well, that's great. My dad started them on rabbits when I was a little boy. That was a long time ago. And I do the same thing, try and start them on rabbits. I've had grown dogs before get into a bunch of rabbits, and all of a sudden I got a rabbit race going on while we're trying to deer hunt. And one day we had one going on like that. My son said, "All right, I'm done with this." He grabbed a shotgun, walked off in the woods, shot the rabbit, and come out with the rabbit and the whole pack of hunting dogs following behind him. Said, "Yep, that's our rabbit. We got him."
Yep.
That's about as embarrassing as it gets. I turned mine out this year, and What happened, like Koty was talking about, we had that big buck we were trying to jump, and I turned loose in the corner where he was allegedly laying at, and I must have turned loose on a rabbit because they, when I dumped the box, they smoked him. I mean, they lit the world up and run. And I knew it was either a buck, a buck sometimes run in circles just like a rabbit does. I said, boys, it's either him or a rabbit. We'll find out. And sure enough, old Peter Cottontail come bouncing across the road and it got him. I did just tell them, boys, it's a rabbit. I'm going to shut them down. And then that happens, but it has nothing to do with them being trained on, when they're young, because I still think it messes them up, but it does not mess them up. You're just I think you're giving them the ability to exercise their hunt, the hunt that's in them as a young dog. Or once you put them on deer, normally they're not trashy dogs. But if I dump out on a rabbit, mine's gonna run a rabbit or a turkey or a armadillo. I mean, they're if something jumps up in front of them, they're going to run.
They're going to run.
Yep.
A coyote. The other day, I ran a coyote and a pack of hogs in the same race. It was unbelievable. But they smoked coyotes, and he crossed about 200 yards to my right, and about 10 to 15 hogs crossed about 100 yards to my left. And I'm pretty sure that the hogs just run out of there, but it was pretty wild to see that, right? But they will run whatever gets in front of them. But if I know it's a coyote, then I give them that shock on about 18 to stop them, because I don't do that. I don't want a trashy dog. Don't get me wrong, but I got deer dogs. That's what I got.
I understand. Well, guys, it's been fun. We're going to have to do this again. We want to make this a Sunday afternoon thing where we just do it and invite whoever. Get up with your friend in Mississippi. Tell him that this ain't gonna hurt him, and come on and join us.
Yeah, I'll see if I can reach out to him. And I got one in Florida I want to hook up with him. I talked to him about it already, and I'll reach back out to him. Sure
All right.
will.
I'll send you a link later in the week, and you can share it with whomever you want to. And we'll just sit down and have a chat.
Sure. Yep. I'll try to do it.
Sounds
Sure
good.
will.
All right, guys.
Good talking with you.
It's good talking with you too.
All right.
Thanks for being on.
Have a good
Have a
evening.
good day.
All right. Bye, guys. And there we have it. We've had the guys on, and it's been great. Follow me on YouTube. I'm on X. I'm on Facebook. See you there.